The Twisted Lens, Episode 3, The Best Time to Protest. I'm sure this episode is bound to stir some emotions. A few months back, the local news overflowed with the story of a Remembrance Day ceremony that was interrupted by a very vocal group protesting against vaccines. At best, the timing seemed distasteful. At worst, it was disgusting, irreverent, and entirely disrespectful. Try as I might, I couldn't find a single person that supported the interruption of such a solemn event. And, try as I might, I couldn't find anyone who did not support the concept of free speech and the right to peaceful assembly and demonstration. These two perspectives seemed at odds to me. Our soldiers will tell you that they fought to preserve the precious freedoms of our Western world, freedoms paid for in blood. And among the most important, freedom of speech. I have heard soldiers say they may despise the message, but will give their lives to guarantee the right of nearly any opinion to be heard, and that is strong stuff. So now what? As you might expect, let's twist the lens for another perspective. Putting aside the reason for the interruption, let's focus instead on the ideal time to be boisterous and disruptive for a cause. You could choose civil rights, you could choose gender equality or abortion laws, or even more recently, Black Lives Matter. By its very nature, civil disobedience is distasteful and maybe even disgusting to those being interrupted, but not so much for those doing the interrupting. If you want an effective protest, you can't storm the library of some small town. You have to go to the legislature and camp on the steps, or block a major road or railway, or even take over the center of a big city like Seattle. And be prepared for the fury of those against you. If you believe in BLM or Roe versus Wade, then make some noise for your side. Hooray for your side, as CCR was fond of saying. And the beautiful part is that peaceful assembly, the right to free speech, and many other liberties our soldiers fought for are enshrined in our Constitution and furiously protected under law. Nearly all free speech and assembly, no matter if you disagree with the point of view or not. However, a caveat, if you block the doors to the hospital or fly a Nazi flag or deface public property, your protest implodes. Free speech is not entirely free, and neither is deliberate criminal behavior. It's also curious how attitudes change. Think back to Rosa Parks and the wrath of the predominantly white media outlets of the day, the distaste and outright disgust of not giving up her seat for a fair-skinned person. My fair skin crawls with how embarrassing that sounds, and yet it was the prevailing attitude at the time. Today, she is revered. Will our protesters also be revered one day? So back to the Remembrance Day thing. Although I found it personally distasteful, I will concede it was the most perfect place and the most poignant time to make a point, any point, right in front of the soldiers who fought and died for the right of the protesters to do just that. What could the soldiers say? It's not easy, and I can't have it both ways. Either I believe in free speech or I don't. Not just when it's convenient and comfortable to my context and perspective.